Hey friends, this is Bill MacDonald, the math doctor. I call myself the common sense math doctor because sometimes all we need to do to word problems is apply a little common sense and we'll get them. This is going to be question number 1 from the 3rd grade test. It'll be a mini-me of it. It came from question number 5 on the 2019 test. It got 66% correct in Texas, reporting category 2. And for those of you that keep track, it's student expectation 3.4F, a supporting standard. Now, 66% means that 1 out of every 3 kids in May did not know how to solve that problem. And so I'm going to model these questions in this little mini practice test for you one by one. That way, whenever you're showing them throughout the year with your students, you can model me mentoring you and your students. So welcome students, those of you who are watching, to dividing problems on a math problem when the keywords are different and you need a smaller number. So without further ado, let me share the screen with you so you can see what we're going to be working with today. Let me get myself out of the way. So, question number 1, as you can see there, it is derived from question 5 from the 3rd grade 2019 test, which had a 66% correct in May, which means the kids had 9 or 10 months to learn the skill of division, but apparently something in the way that we're teaching it is not getting across to the kids. So please share this video with your teacher friends, and if you're interested, you can buy the entire test for a very cheap price, along with all of the math posters and graphic organizers that go with it. So, for those of you that are not aware, I have a quick check rubric, quick check testing strategy called rules, where we read the question and the problem, underline the question and the problem, that we label all the keywords and numbers, that we evaluate and execute our strategies, then eliminate and explain why we're going to eliminate. The cool thing about the E is it has 3 little sticks. For the 3 you're going to eliminate and explain. Then you select one answer if there are 4 to pick from. But because this one only has one answer, we're only going to be evaluating and executing, and we'll be selecting the right answer that we're going to put on my mathematics chart, a great way to practice grids. So the question is a great place to start. When you tell your students, mind your P's and Q's, students, what they're telling you is mind your business. Don't get involved in other people's business. But it also means in math, it's probably a better idea if you struggle with reading to read the question before the problem. That way it kind of points you in the right direction, because sometimes the problem misleads us as students, and we don't want to be misled by assuming something that's really not being asked. So let's see what they're asking us, students. We're going to read the question. What is the total number of slots Mr. Garcia used for these sodas? So I see slots and I see sodas. Since those keywords are different, if you look at my mathematics chart on the lower left-hand portion in the place value section, it says different, multiply or divide. That 90% of the time we're going to be doing some operation that's multiplication or division. So let's take a look and see what this problem has to do with sodas and slots. problem, excuse me. Mr. Garcia placed a total, means the biggest it can be, of 72 sodas into a soda machine. That means because our total is 72, the only number that we can arrive at is a number that's smaller than 72. It says he placed 9 sodas into each slot. So once again, the keywords are different. We have sodas and slots. But because it has the word each in the problem and it doesn't say each in the question, we have to be very careful that we look at my second part. It says each one in the problem question mark, problem multiply question mark. And a lot of your students, probably the ones who missed it, just saw each in the problem and they did not understand that the word total with 72 sodas was there and that they needed a smaller number. So even though each was in the problem, in this case we have to DQ, divide, because the question was asking us to place some total amount into slots. So let's take a look at a special division poster that I came up with called Moss Red. If you look, those of you that have purchased this, it's going to be on page 37, where Ma is really red because she's upset with her son about his division grade being an F. So it's called 5 Easy Steps to Dividing Numbers. M being we multiply some factor until we have an answer, also known as a product. Then you subtract that answer from the number that was the dividend inside the box to get a remainder. Then you'll either drop and go back to the top and do it all again, or we're going to be done. And on page 38 in your math posters, I've shown you how to do it with 1-digit quotients and also with 2-digit quotients. And what you notice is the main struggle that kids have is they don't realize that what you multiply goes on the top and the answer, the product, goes on the bottom. So that kind of makes the step a lot easier when you set up the multiplication table like this. So we have 72 sodas with 9 sodas in each slot. So I've already worked this problem out to save a little time for you. Here we go. This is question number 1. We have the moss red. Step 1, what are we going to multiply? Well, 9 is the divisor, 72 is the dividend, and we're going to multiply one at a time. We multiply goes on top, and the answer goes on the bottom. We had to multiply all the way to 9 times 8 to get 72. So when you put your answer on the bottom, what you multiplied goes on the top. Then you subtract 72 minus 72, you get a remainder of 0. And it said in Ma's red, are we going to drop or are we done? We are done. 9 sodas, 72 sodas. Number of slots, keywords were different. What threw your kids off was each in the problem. And you can either separate your digits by turning a regular notebook paper the long way facing left and right, 8 and 0/10, or you can use my mathematics chart that I've made for you where your students can actually practice grid responses. It said 8 sodas are going to be placed into each slot. But if you want to actually write with a decimal, you can say 8, and then we separate our whole numbers from our decimals. 8 and, because and is synonymous with decimals, 0 tenths would be our answer. We don't need to put anything in the hundreds or the thousands place. Those are for the upper grades, and or we can be using percent, or we can use cents with money all the way down to kinder and first grade. So there you have it. That's how I would solve question number 1. I will be doing all of the problems one by one for you in these little short videos. Please share or tag one of your math teacher friends if he or she is having students struggling with division. Students, once more, let's review. Mas read is multiply something, what we'll call a factor, and to get an answer that we'll call a product, you take that answer and subtract it from your dividend to have a remainder, RE, and then your D done, or you drop and go back to the top. In this case, we just were done. So God bless you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your day.